Hi, I'm Scott from Seattle Food Geek, and today we're going to centrifuge some peas and corn to see what happens. One of the benefits of using a centrifuge for culinary applications is that you can separate foods out into their components by density. As it turns out, there's a component of peas that's referred to as pea butter that has this delicious essence of pea flavor and an incredible sort of soft butter-like texture. I'm hoping that the same exists for corn or maybe other vegetables as well, but the only way to find out is through experimentation. The first thing we're going to do is take a pound of peas. These are your regular grocery store peas that I've thawed, and put them in the blender. Now that we've got a great puree, we're going to put the peas into a container that happens to fit nicely into my centrifuge. Whatever centrifuge you're using, make sure to get a nice locking, food-safe container that you can use as well. We'll put both the container and the lid on a scale because we need to make sure that our centrifuge is balanced. So whatever goes in one side, we have to have the same amount of weight in the other. So this starts out at 108 grams, and we'll see how far we get adding all the peas. Next up, we'll do the same thing with the corn. Our corn is a little bit lighter, so what we're going to do is just remove enough of the pea until they're exactly balanced, and then we'll throw them in the centrifuge. So this is my basement laboratory slash centrifuge room. As you can see, I've got a big-ass Beckman TJ6 centrifuge that I got from a lab surplus supply company with a refrigeration unit, which is really important for working with food products because otherwise it gets pretty hot in there and you risk your food spoiling. So we'll go ahead and put our peas and corn in and turn this thing on to high with refrigeration and let it run for about 3 hours. So now we've got our pea and our corn that's been in the centrifuge refrigerated for a little over 3 hours. You can see that they've separated into pretty clear layers. With the pea, you've got pea water on top, a very thin layer of pea butter in the middle, and then pea solids at the bottom. Now the corn was kind of a surprise what was going to happen, but we've got a layer of thick sort of corn mush looking stuff at the top, what looks like a liquid layer, and then a very rich yellow layer right at the bottom. So let's take a taste of each of these layers and see what happened. So you can see at the top, the corn it's almost got the texture of kind of a corn pudding. That's very interesting. It's okay. It's not super sweet. It's a little bit mealy. So let's see if we pull back here. Here's this layer of beautiful corn liquid. It's thick. It's not like water. Let's see what this tastes like. It's got a lot more of the sweetness, really pronounced kind of corn flavor. Now, this layer all the way at the bottom is pretty compact. It's relatively dense, pretty solid, and just kind of fibrous and not a ton of flavor. So I think the real takeaway from the corn is this beautiful corn liquid. Let's try it with the peas. Well, right off the top, you can see this beautiful pea water. It's nice and thick, not quite as thick as the corn liquid, but I'm sure we'll be able to come up with a good use for that. And then right on top, that is the pea butter. It's a gorgeous, velvety texture. You see that? How it kind of coats the spoon? That's really beautiful. And that is like the absolute ultimate flavor of pure peas. It's really fantastic. It's a shame, though, that it's a layer that's only a couple of millimeters thick, and the rest of this at the bottom is just pea solids. Anyway, in the next few weeks, I'm going to look for something great to do with my corn liquid and some pea butter and maybe even some pea water. So check back for those recipes. In the meantime, thanks for joining me on Seattle Food Geek.